Good morning, everybody. We can start at 10 past. Just give any others a minute or two more. All right, so we can go ahead and begin. So let's see who is online. All right, so the purpose of these tutorial lectures, can everybody hear me before I start? Everybody can hear me clearly?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so the purpose of these tutorial lectures is not necessarily to give you the answers to the tutorials, but like I would have said in class, is to help you through with the ones that you might have been struggling with. So I would ask you to, if you had a problem with one, we're going to identify the ones you have problems with, and I would like to hear what you attempted to do, and then I would guide you through to the correct answers. I'm just trying to remember what I wrote for the last class, and then I will display the problem set. So you can start thinking about which questions in particular you may have had any difficulties with. Just erasing the last set. So let me present my screen. All right, so starting from the top, can you tell me which of these questions you had? Which ones did you have the most problems with? I expect this to be an interactive session, so if you all don't talk, I'm not going to talk either. You just sit here and say this together. So the point is to give you help. If you did not attend,
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Question. I'm looking at the question 3. Come down.
Question
3 and 4.
All right. So 3 and 4. Any others?
Ma'am,
and then 1, 3 as well with the.
Oh, okay.
Ma'am, can you go through 1, 2 as well?
1, 2. All right. Is that it?
And number 7.
Number 7. All right. So I'm going to start with the easiest question. Well, sorry, I'm going to start with the first question that was askable. So can you tell me the person who asked or anyone else, what would you have done for question 4? Yeah, B bananas cost $1.45 and A apples cost $2.35. How much does 1 banana cost? Anybody tell me what they attempted?
I didn't even know where to start now, honestly.
Okay. Anybody else? You have quite a few people here.
Ma'am?
Hello? Go ahead.
I put $1.45 over B equals the cost of 1 banana.
Okay, that's correct.
And then the next one for E.
The next one, so 1 apple will be what?
$2.35 on A.
Correct. All right. So even though this question might look like if it's complicated, it actually isn't. The first doesn't even answer for the first 2. Just when it comes to algebra, sometimes with these type of reasoning questions, just replace your letters with numbers and make the question a little bit easier for yourself. So if you had a question, for instance, that was if 2 bananas cost, instead of B, let's say we had 2. If 2 bananas cost, let's say $4. If you want to know how much 1 banana costs, you know that you would just divide 4 by 2. So the same thing here. We have B bananas costing $1.45. So you would just divide that money by how many bananas you have, which is B. So that person is correct. Thank you very much. Do we understand?
Yes, please.
All right. So that's part 1 and 2. So for part 3, we have write as a single fraction an algebraic expression for the cost of 1 banana and 1 apple. So anybody could tell me what you think we would do here? The important part here is and 1 banana and 1 apple. How would we write that equation?
B plus A.
So remember we just worked out how much 1 banana costs and how much 1 apple. So they want an algebraic expression for the cost of 1 banana and 1 apple. So what do you think you'll be using?
Is it the $1.45 over B plus the $2.35 over A?
Correct. That's 100% correct. So that's it. And all you will need to do after this point is just to simplify it. And anybody knows how we will simplify our denominators? What would they become? How do we do our fractions?
AB.
Correct, AB. And then we know that we need to turn both of these into AB. So I'll multiply this one here by what?
A.
All right. And do the same thing at the top. So that will give me 1.45 here. And then over here, I'll multiply this one by B.
B.
Do the same at the top. So I get plus 235B. And that is your answer. That's it.
So, ma'am, just to be clear, because the information I was given that we had to use A and B, you will have to work it out like this because it doesn't, you can't finalize because you don't have any numbers.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Correct. If I had to come and give you a question, that might have said, what is the total cost of 3 apples and 2 bananas, you will replace the A's with 3 and the B's with 2 or so on if they did that, but that's not the case in this question. All right, so the next question we can go through is 3. We have what must be added to 2x plus 3y minus z to give a sum of 3x minus 6y plus 2z. So before we do that one, I want to take a look at question number, I want to see what you would have done for this question here. Can anybody tell me what working you did?
For me, I combined the two equations. So I said negative 7x plus 5x plus 4y plus 8y plus 5z minus 6z.
Plus 8z, there we go, plus 5z. 4y plus 8y plus 5z minus 6z. All right, that'll be correct. And then you would have worked out the, I think you should have got him minus 2x plus 12y
So z.
minus z, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, I did that.
All right, so we understand how to do that question. And that one is where you're just adding the two groups together. How would we have, can anybody tell me how you did this one?
The same, basically the same way. But that 3x. 3x minus 4x minus 7.
Let me write out the same thing.
Put all the like terms together.
So you started with 3x.
3x minus 4x minus 7y minus 8y plus 2z plus 9z.
Okay, so there's a problem here though. Do you notice that in this question here, we were adding them together? But notice in this one, you're taking them away. So I can't just put 3x minus 4x.
You have to flip them.
Right, you will have to flip the signs of the second one. So let me just put it in a more clear form. What you're really doing here is that you are taking the first equation, which is 3x minus 7y plus 2z. And from that, you are taking away this entire second equation. And if you're taking away that entire equation, we have to put it in a bracket. And the reason for doing that is so that the subtraction that you're doing here will be applied to all 3 terms that we have. So we have minus 4x minus 8y and plus 9z. Now, if you did not have this bracket here, when you go to subtract, you will end up only subtracting from, so basically we have 2 terms here. We have this term here and this term here. If you just had to put the subtraction in the middle and be subtracting because it's said to take, then it will be a case where you are only subtracting this term, not the others, because the others, if you check, are remaining as they were here. But if we are subtracting, the sign should be reversed, right? So we put a bracket. Let me rub this up. We put a bracket around here so that my subtraction is applied to each of the 3 terms. So when I rewrite this sum, I'll have to rewrite it like this. 3x minus 7y plus 2z. And if I look at these 2, what will they become?
Positive?
Correct. So that will become positive 4x. What about this one and this one?
Negative.
We got a negative here and we got a negative here.
Oh,
So
positive.
Right, so that'll be positive 8y. And then the last one is this and this. So that'll become a what?
Negative.
All right, negative 90. So now we can collect our terms, and we will end up having 3x plus 4x minus 7y plus 8y plus 2z minus 9z. Oops. And then we end up with 7x plus y minus 7z. Okay. There's another way you could do this. You could set it up a little bit differently. You could have put it almost like a sum. Just makes it a little bit easier to see. So you could have done the 3x minus 7y plus the 2z at the top. And then taking away your 4x, your negative 4x, your minus 8y, and your positive 9z. Keep doing that all the time. 9z from it, right? And set it up like an equation. So you would have to know though that because of this out here, you gotta change the signs of each of these. Everybody's understanding way, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if I'm gonna do that, let me grab this little from out here. It means I have to rewrite the sum. The easier thing to do would be to rewrite the sum. You could do it from there too, but this is what you would have to do. When you're putting your things in your calculator, you would have to do, for instance, 3x minus negative 4x, and then you'll put your answer here. But the easier way to go is to just rewrite the sum. So I put back my 3x minus 7y plus 2z at the top. And at the bottom, I'm going to use this to reverse all of my signs, all right? So I will end up getting, these two will be the positive 4x. This and this will give me a positive 8y. And then this and this will give me a negative 9z. And then we just write them all together. So these two here will give us minus 7z. These two will give us positive 1y. And these two will give us 7x. So whichever way you prefer, that's absolutely fine. For the question for part 3, you could have done the same thing here. This one was just adding, so this one was straightforward. The only time you need to worry about reversing sign is if you're taking away, right? Like this one. But you could have done it here straight for this question. They could have worked out these two, and I would have got minus c. Worked out these two, I would have got plus 12y. I worked out these two, and I would have gotten minus 2x. Right? You get the same answers. So, question 3 that was asked about. Give myself some space. So for question 3, we have a similar question. And the question says, what must be added to 2x plus 3y minus c to give a sum of 3x plus 6y plus 2z? Now, easy way to think of these questions, like I said again, is to just replace it with something that is a little bit more easier to understand. So what if I changed it and instead of this and this, I had what must be added to 2 to give a sum of 5? What would you do?
Take away.
Take away. So that just tells you what the operation is. You would take away, you will have 5, take away 2. So you need that, you know that you need to have this at the top and take away this one. Or at the front and take away that one. So now that we know that our sum should be 3x minus 6y plus 2z minus, what should I put next before I put the other one?
Brackets.
Brackets, 2x plus 3y minus z. What's the next step? What's my next step?
We switching them.
You change your signs.
Right. So the first one will be what? What would the rest of these one be?
Negative. Negative 2x.
Minus 3y.
Positive z.
Okay. And then you can collect your like terms. So you can see here you have your 3x minus 2x, which will just give you x. Then you'll have your minus 6y minus 3y. Those are the same signs, so you know you'll add those. And you'll get, sorry, not positive, minus 9y. And then you have positive 2z plus another z would give you 3z. If you want to do the next step where you collect them together and then work out your answer, that's entirely fine also. Okay, so any questions about that?
Nope. 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 Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Mute your mic for me, please. So, we're gonna do part 2 now. Let me see if we're missing any more at the bottom before I go on. 7. All right, do these ones first. So the first one we have is, you can do this one first. We have mn plus 4xy plus 17xy minus mn plus xy. So this is just collecting like terms. So anybody can tell me what you would have done?
mn minus mn,
Mm-hmm.
4xy plus 17xy plus xy.
Mm-hmm.
0 plus 22xy.
0 plus 22xy. Good. And do you leave it like that?
Yes? Or just 22xy?
Just 22xy. And that's that. Okay, so that was an easy question. Part 3. People had problems with this across the board, but it's actually a very easy question. This one here. So I have x over 3 plus x over 3 plus x over 3 dot 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 to 15 terms. Note well, this means add this term a total of 15 times. So I'm just, the important thing here to know is that this dot 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 represents that I keep adding the same term and doing the same thing over and over again up to I get 15 of them. Can anybody give me, tell me how they attended this question?
I put x over 3 multiplied by 15.
Perfect, that's it. So there are some people in the other tutorials who actually wrote down x plus 3, and wrote it down 15 times. We don't have to do that because we know if we're adding the same thing over and over and over again, it's the same thing as multiplying it. So like if for instance, instead of x over 3, you had a $2 bill, and they give you 15 $2 bills, you will not count them and say 2, 4, 6 all the way until you get to the 15th one. You just multiply 2 by 15. So the same thing here. You just multiply x by 15 and then you will just cancel. You should got 3 into 3, 1, 3 into 15, 5. And your answer would be 5x. Any problems with that?
Well, I got 5x as well.
So how would we do part 4? You understand how to do part 5? Anybody has any ideas? We're going out to n terms instead of 15 terms.
Man, would it just be 2y over n multiplied by n?
Correct. 2y over n multiplied by n. And you know your n, so just cancel.
And the answer would be 2y.
Correct. Good. Anybody had any problems with part 4? Sorry, part 6?
Yes, ma'am. Can you actually go through part 6?
Yeah. I would like to hear what you would have attempted to do for that question. Let me Rachel first. Or if you didn't attempt it, what you think you should do.
So, ma'am, it will be.
Wait, just let me read the question first. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
So x by x squared over 7 minus y. Wait, I'm missing the questions. X squared plus 5. All right, go ahead. So what do you think you should do?
So the x by x squared, that would become x cubed
Right, that's right.
plus x
Mm-hmm.
minus 2x cubed
Mm-hmm.
plus, negative 10,
Is it just 10?
10x, sorry.
And that's right. Good. And then you just collect your like terms.
So, ma'am, just to clarify, so where you're multiplying and you have to the powers, you
Mm-hmm.
add, and when you're dividing, you subtract, because that's always getting mixed up when you have the powers with the multiplication and division.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you're multiplying, you just add, and when you're subtracting, when you're dividing, you subtract. Yeah. So we get 3 here because this one here is 1. This is to the 1 we just done right here. So that is it. So you end up getting minus, from these two, you end up getting minus x cubed. And these two will give you minus 9x. And that's it. Oh, so there was one that I think I forgot. 7. I remember somebody asked me to do this. All right.
Ma'am,
So
sorry, before you do number 7, can you just scroll back up so you can see the answer again? You had minus x cubed?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right. So find the total amount owed on a $6,000 loan borrowed for 1.5 years at an interest rate of 4% compounded every 6 months. So the most important part of this question is this part here. Can anybody tell me what you would have done? Let me start with the first time period. First of all, can anybody tell me how many time periods we would have? Sorry, well, like 2 should be like 1. How many time periods would you have if it's 1.5 years?
3.
3, that's correct. That's good. So we should have the interest in year 1, in year 2, and in year 3. All right, good. So how did you work out the interest for year 1? Did you use
Ma'am,
your
would it be
Principal 6,000 by 4% by 1.5.
4%? It can be by 1.5 because look at how the interest rate is compounding every 6 months. So remember your formula is A is equal to P by R by T over 100. And your time period is normally measured in what? Anybody can remember?
Years.
Years. So if our time is normally measured in years, and your interest is compounded every 6 months, How would I turn that 6 months into years? How do I represent that as years? It'll be how much years?
6 divided by 12?
Correct, which is 0.5, right? Or a half. So you could either choose to use 0.5 or you could have written a half. It doesn't make a difference. 0.5 is just easier to see because now you have to multiply the bottom, multiply the top, and then work out. So I prefer to just put multiply by 0.5. Or alternatively, you could have done it how I did it in the lecture. And you could have taken your interest rate, and because you have it split up over every 6 months, you could split that interest rate into 2. So you could have had the 4% divided, so that is 2% in the first 6 months plus 2% in the next 6 months. So some people in the other tutorial did this, and you would have gotten your answer. Now, whichever of these you use, you're going to get the same thing, because if you think about it, if I use 0.5 here, we know that that's a half. Half of 4 is still 2. So you end up getting the same 2 that's on top of here. Everybody's following what I'm saying? Anybody lost? Okay, I'll assume we're all good. So whichever one of these you do, I think I can't remember what the answer is. I think it's 120. Is that what you got?
Yes, please.
Right, you would have got 120. And which of these methods did you use? Did you use the one I do here in yellow or the one I did in blue?
The one in yellow.
Okay. Anybody attempted the one in blue? Okay, I guess not. All right, so we'll continue with the one in yellow. What if instead of every 6 months, it had given you every 3 months? What would you have multiplied by here? What if instead of it being compounded every 6 months, I compounded it every 3 months?
0.25?
Correct. Good. So whatever amount of months they give you, you just divide it by 12. So if it's 6 months, the 6 divided by 12, 3 months, 3 divided by 12, 2 months, 2 divided by 12, and that's what your time would be. Or suppose I even giving you weeks. Suppose it says 6 weeks. Then you would divide it by how many weeks are in a year. And that would be divided by 52 because there are 52 weeks in a year. So that's just a point to note. So we have to finish here by finding our total amount in the first year, and that will be 6,000 plus 120, which is 6120. And how do I start the interest in year 2?
6120?
Multiply by what?
Multiply by 4?
Huh? On 100. I gotta remember that part. Multiply by what?
0.5?
Yes. You suddenly asking me instead of telling me. So what's the answer for this part? Anybody worked out already?
$122.40.
Okay, so what's the total amount? We need to add on the 6120 to the 122.40. What's the total?
$62.42.
All right, so the last one will follow the same pattern. And we would have 62, 42, 40 by 4 on 100. by 0.5. And what's the answers?
$124.85.
Sorry, tell me again. 124, you said point what?
85.
All right. Let me just check that out. Anybody else got that same answer? Could you check and tell me?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
All right. And what's the total amount?
63, 67, 25.
Pardon me?
63, 67, 25.
63, 67, 25. All right, that sounds about right. So that's it. All right. So I'll give you a minute to write that. All right, so do we have any other questions that you would like me to go through?
Mom, is it possible you could go through number 1
With the yacht, sorry.
and then
Number, the one with the yachts and then what?
number 1,
Mm-hmm.
7th one?
171. This one?
Yes, please.
And then the one with the yachts. Okay. So we can start with this one. We have 7a b over 4 divided by, normally write divisions like this. Can you tell me what you would have attempted to do? Can you do anything with your numbers, first of all? Can you cancel those in any way?
No?
No. There's something that can divide 7 and 3, so those will go back. So what about your letters, your algebraic terms? What will we do with the A's?
So you will got the A at the bottom.
Right.
So
This is A to the 1 we subtract, and we got A at the bottom, correct? And what about the B's?
B to the power 3.
At the top or bottom?
The top.
Right. And that's it. So question 5. Port St. Charles is currently filled with boats due to an impending hurricane. 40% of all boats are yachts, and the remainder are fishing boats and speedboats. If there are 84 speedboats and fishing boats, how many yachts are in the port? So, first of all, you have to start with what you know. You know the number of fishing boats and speedboats. You want to know the number of yachts. So the first thing you would do is try to figure out how many boats are in the port altogether, and then that will allow you to work out how many yachts are in the port. Now, if you know the number of fishing boats and speedboats, do you also know the percentage of fishing boats and speedboats so you could compare? What would be the percentage of fishing boats and speedboats?
60%.
Yeah, so 60%. So you know that 60% of the speedboats are equivalent to 84 boats. So if you want to find out all of the boats, you would use what percentage? What percentage represents all of the boats?
100%.
100.
So the key to doing this is to put how much you want at the top. You want all 100%. Divide it by what the percentage that you know,
Right.
and
By
multiply
84.
that, right,
By
that by the quantity that you know. And I think that gives you 104.
140. Yeah. Now you take that from 84. Take 140.
Take away the 84, you should get
I get 56.
So there's if we understand this clearly, there's actually easier way to do this, so it's all in one step. Now, what's important to remember, however, is that all the percentages are stacked on top of each other. The one that you want goes at the top, whereas the one, so these are the percentages, whereas the one that you know goes at the bottom. And the quantity, just put Q for quantity, that you know goes on the other side. So if we understand, this should be no, sorry, to my handwriting. If we understand that concept, then you could just change the percentage that you want to be the actual percentage that you wanted in question, which was, you actually wanted to know was 40%, right? Because you wanted the number of yachts in a boat. So you could actually change this question, put what you want on the top. You want to know how much is 40%. Put what you know on the bottom. You know that 60% is equal to 84. And if you do that, you will just get out 56 one time. Do we understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other questions?
Can you please do number 10?
10. There's one number 10. Oh, you
On
mean
10.
Okay. So we have, so let's start with the numbers. Let me expand this a little bit. Let's start with numbers. Can we cancel anything there?
Yeah. It'll be
Oh.
8.
So 8 at the top and what about at the bottom? What about the bottom? We can't just cancel the top, don't cancel the bottom. So if we divide it by 2 at the top, we also have to divide it to the bottom, we'll get 1, right? Can't do one and not the other. You always cancel top and bottom. What about these signs? Can we cancel these signs?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, the 2 would cancel and look, it will give us a plus. All right, so our answer should have a positive sign. All right, so let's look at our terms now. So let's look at our A's. When we cancel those, what will we get?
But
A by itself.
Top or bottom? Bottom.
Bottom.
Is there anybody that doesn't understand where to place them? Okay, so I assume we all know. All right, what about the Y's?
We'll have Y
Y cube, Y squared.
Yeah, like square to the top. And then what about your X cube?
X squared to the bottom.
It will remain X cube because there's nothing else to cancel it with. So it will remain X cube. And remember, we don't need to write this sign. If you don't have a sign, it means that it's positive. So that would be your answer right there.
So man, you won't put, so when you cancel the 2016, it wouldn't be 8.
All right. Yes, it would be 8. I forgot that. You're correct. Okay. So that is that.
Is it possible you could go over number 1-8?
1-8. Okay. So we can start with the numbers. Or we could just do it in pieces. Let me rub out some of this. So we can start with the minus 5x cubed by 4x squared. So we multiply our numbers, and you know you will get minus 20. What about our x's? What would we get? A better way actually to write this out would be like this. It would be to leave those at the top. I mean, no, instead of dividing, we prefer to put Sorry, I didn't hear what it, oh, somebody said actually perfect. Right, so what I'm doing now is working on the top. Put it over here. So anytime you see division in algebra, just change it to be that that sign, the dividend sign. It just makes it easier. So I have negative 20 x to the 5, that's correct. And the bottom will be what? Well, we put it back. Negative 2x. Then what do we do from here?
Cancel.
Correct. So we cancel. This should be negative 2 into negative 2 is 1. Negative 2 into 20 is 10. So you know our signs are now gone. So we should get 10 at the top. And what about our x's?
X to the 4th.
So that's it. You don't have to bother putting back to the 1 because you know anything over 1 is just itself. So this one here is not important. All right, so is that it?
Okay.
All right, so that's it for class. I will see you next week.